Well, I can't say good morning. I know I always do that. It's just the customary way we're going to start these. It's just me saying, I can't say good morning. All right, we're going to start by saying thank you to our top sponsors. They are listed up on the screen. First and foremost, it's FPEA. We do have a couple more in the works. I know I keep saying that, but these things take time to put together and get them up on our website. But speaking of our website, I'm going to go right on over to share. Our recognition wall. Here are some of our other supporters. These are vendors from some of them are in the home education community, some of them are not, but they're all people who love and believe in what HEF is and what we do, lobbying for parents to have the right to home educate their kids and have their voice be heard in the Capitol when it comes to things that are important to them and their freedoms. And we have added a new one today, Northridge Academy. And we have a special guest today as well from Northridge Academy, Adrienne Harvie. Did I say that correct?
Yes, you did.
Excellent. It looks like we lost Crystal's camera, so she's a floating sea for now, but maybe she'll be back. She's also muted. I don't know if she did that to herself or if she's running downstairs. Okay. Well, there's a lot of commotion going on up there. We'll just move forward and she'll come back or not. Good day, Brenda. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good, good. And hello, Adrienne. How are you?
Good.
Good. It's good to see you. I noticed our internet here, we're a little like on and off with the connection. So it seems like it's a little unstable, but we'll make our way through it as best as we can. Brenda, you said you had some things you wanted to talk about.
Right. This morning I had contacted the committee last week to find out about the special session and what was going to be discussed. So I had a conversation with them this morning
Nice.
and confirmed that the special session is going to address an increase for the waiting list for FES UA.
Okay.
There's
Increase in the
the
waiting list.
the policy issues relating to the PEP are going to be addressed in regular session. So this is not a committee meeting where they're going to be taking up bills related to policy.
Okay.
And I presented to the committee, who are the ones that kind of keep the checklist as the legislators are talking to them about the various bills on what is happening, what needs to be changed. And so I pointed out the difficulties that we're having with some of the agencies, school districts, because the laws pertaining to those privileges and opportunities for homeschoolers was not addressed in HB1, such as we're having complaints about state colleges not
Mm-hmm.
wanting PEP students to
Right.
participate or allowing them not to participate in dual enrollment. Well, they need to go over to the statutes relating to dual enrollment and to the dual enrollment scholarship, and they need to insert PEP along with home education students. We've also have an issue with the school districts not wanting to allow PEP
So spell it
students,
out and make it more clear, is what you're
yeah,
saying.
to take classes because the law doesn't say they have to. So I pointed out that those little statute numbers in the definition of personalized education program is not translating to those other entities, and we need to be more specific in the law.
Clear it.
And so a few other things, but
Okay.
I'm putting it on their radar screen early so that as they start drafting the bills, they can be sure and get those things into the bills that need to go in there. So
That's good.
just an update on that.
Cool. I think there's a. Go ahead.
And then the other thing that I wanted to mention was there are still people who I have contacted Step Up regarding they haven't received the scholarship for their child, even though they applied early.
Right.
Um, uh, we've been in touch with Step Up, but we've not heard anything back since I let them know a week ago.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And that's the update.
That's it.
I think a lot of parents are like, why aren't they addressing that issue in the legislative session? We're pitchforks, torches. So, what? Slow down a little bit. Help us understand what is the special session. What's the difference between the special session and what gets addressed, and what's normal?
I suppose I need to ask Crystal if she posted the document relating to what the call of the special session is. Is
I
that
did not post it anywhere publicly.
okay? Well, you
Do
can't?
you want us to?
I
We
can.
can.
Oh, yes, let's post that because
Cool.
they have to specify what they're going to take up in a special session. It's not like an open session where people file bills, but this particular session is going to be basically about the fallout and how they're going to handle the money for the last hurricane.
Mm-hmm.
And then they threw in there, they didn't say wait list, but basically what they're trying to do is put enough money into the budget from the one that went into effect July 1 of this year to cover the wait list for those parents of students with disabilities to be able to get the FESUA for those students before next session. So the items are specific, and that's all they can take up in a special session. They can't broaden the call. They have to stick to what's in the documents. So, so we'll post that in the forum, and then people can read it.
Got you. We seem to have lost Adrienne. Hopefully she'll come back.
Hopefully.
Right now, it moves all of the talking heads around, and it's very difficult. We can still see you, Brenda. Keep going.
Hopefully she'll come back because I want to introduce her.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. In the meantime, though, do you want to talk about the article that the one of the previous legislators shared with you, or do you want to? I feel like sometimes those things are tar babies. The more that you mess with them, the ickier and stickier that they get, and if you just don't talk about them, sometimes they go away. But,
well, I want to talk about one aspect of it. I don't want to mention the article. I don't want to create any more stir out there in the community. We all know that there are people out there that hate homeschoolers who think we're doing a terrible job. Our kids are not socialized. They don't measure up, blah, blah.
We don't believe in enough feminist ideals.
Okay, so we've got doctors, lawyers, engineers. My grandnephew just got in. He's a senior this year. He's just been accepted at UCF in the honors college. And he's coming straight out of homeschooling. So all the rumors are not true that are out there, but we know that media likes to present the negative. So don't play into that. You can't defend homeschooling. It speaks for itself. And the more we stir the pot, the worse things get. So one point about the reason to have a lobbyist is the point I want to make. The point is that a former legislator, a state senator from 10 years ago, called me this morning to tell me about the article. She was very upset about it and just wanted us to know about it. So my point is that having an organization that represents you in the Capitol, those that are related to parental rights in education, be it homeschooling, or if you're in a private, quote, umbrella school, or if you are taking the PEP, we're here to represent you. So how did she find me? How did she get my contact information? She goes to either her file from 10 years ago that has my telephone number, Or she goes and looks me up on the lobbyist registration and calls me because she knows I represent homeschooling. Um, Committee staff was like, I thought you were going to retire. And I said, well, not till I have somebody to pass the torch to. And I think we have somebody to pass the torch to, but we'll be introducing and making connections this session and setting the stage for me to finally be able to retire. So all those things are really important. That's why we need to raise money to support our future lobbyists so that you have a voice in the Capitol. And when a problem arises, they know who to call and we know how to handle all those situations. So I just think that was really timely that, I got a call from a legislator from 10 years ago, who, by the way, is homeschooling. So,
Hey,
yeah,
that's awesome.
so she was very offended, and rightly
Well, I
so.
mean, yeah, I read the article. It's extremely offensive.
Right,
She
rightly so.
literally like goes through city after city about everything she detests about homeschoolers, and then says
About
that she
how
has panic
basically
attacks
that we're all
and wants to
ignorant.
throw up. Yeah, she has panic attacks and wants to throw up before even going into a convention. Oh no, not another one. And then her business partner asks her if they want to stop going, and she goes, "Oh, absolutely not." Like, she's
Because we
milking.
make our money off of homeschoolers.
Yeah, yeah.
But you
Jeez.
can't paint a broad
Oh man.
picture
What?
based on the interaction with a few people. And yes, we're
Yeah.
not all geniuses who homeschool our kids. But you know what? I say that
No.
homeschooling educates two generations at once, because most of the parents came out of public schools, right?
Yes. Yeah. Good point. Great point. Uh, so, Laura, we didn't mention who the person is, and we don't really want to. I was saying earlier, it's kind of like a tar baby. We don't really want to punch and then just give them more attention. But I will say this: the books that she writes and her podcast are all about girl empowerment. She's very feminist. She scoffs when people ask her questions about why God isn't included in them. And it's basically because the women in the Bible aren't real. She wants to focus on real female characters and on and on and on. She just hates everything about us. So be look at your authors. Look at your authors. Go to your conventions. Grab Google. Click a couple of things. Do some research on people before you just decide to buy their content in whole. And if you still want to, then go for
Be
it.
kind. Be kind if they show up or you show up at a convention where they are.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
You don't have to
There's a
buy their stuff, but be kind.
there are some interactions that I was reading through her uh, experiences. I was like, I've met some people like that too. I've met people who aren't homeschoolers who are like that, but I also have met some people like that at some of the conventions. But anyway,
Okay,
without
enough about that.
yeah,
Let's move
yeah.
on to something positive.
Yes. Okay, I apologize
We
also
have
because
Adrienne back,
go ahead. Yes, we have her back. When
and
she
I'm
dropped,
so
all of the heads got mixed
excited
around.
to have her on today. We tried to get her last week, but her schedule conflicted, so we promised you we'd have her back. They are recent um, um, homeschoolers in Florida, and they're excited about home education, but they also have a business that Adrienne works and teaches about this assessment. And we've had a lot of questions about assessments, and
Yep.
homeschoolers are familiar with a few, but they're not familiar with all of them.
Hmm.
And we found that that's one of the things about the PEP that really concerns parents is the
Yeah.
testing component, and the fact that they're going to have to turn the test scores into their scholarship funding organization, depending on which one they're in, Step Up for Students or AAA. I keep telling parents, and Crystal does too, that they're not judging the students, they're judging the program. And
Mm.
so the way they do that is the only option there, with the 5 options that are available to homeschoolers to choose for an evaluation at the end of the year.
Mhm.
And by the way, uh, those were put in there so they couldn't judge. But the test scores are one thing that they can compile and get a picture of what's happening in the program. And while I'm not uh, unhappy about the choosing of a test score, if we're judging the program to see if it's
Right.
successful,
Yeah.
in a way, I'm a little bit excited about it, which sounds odd, as long as they don't change the requirements in the program and make it more regulated for parents, as long as we keep the freedom. I think the test scores for the PEP program are going to knock the socks off of those people that are looking at the program,
There's
because
a good chance.
given 5 years for parents to settle in, figure
Mhm.
out about how to teach their children, they're going to be committed parents, and commitment from parents is what makes homeschooling successful.
Absolutely.
So in 5 years, if we're getting super high test scores and they compare that to the public schools,
Mhm.
more power to us. We don't have a crystal ball, but that's just my gut feeling. So,
Sure.
with that being said, we found
Welcome.
a very interesting tool that we want to share with you today. And Adrienne and her husband have stepped out in faith that it's going to be something that homeschoolers are going to embrace, because this particular assessment allows parents to use it during the year and see what progress their students are making. A lot of parents want to do that. You don't
Mhm.
have to, but it's an option within this test. And we think that it's something that you need to become familiar with as an option for you to use in the PEP program. So, with that having been said, we're going to turn it over to Adrienne, right, Jason?
Yes, ma'am. Adrian, tell us a little bit about yourself. Obviously, Brenda said you and your husband started this venture, stepped out on some faith. Tell us what that venture is and tell us a little bit about you.
Okay, well, I'm glad to be here. So, we started Northridge Academy because we wanted to start homeschooling our children. We wanted to get the PEP scholarship, and we had that testing requirement. And with my background
Mhm.
in education, I've been a teacher for a long time. I knew about this assessment, and I knew that it would be a wonderful fit for PEP students, for homeschool students, because it's easy. It can be done at home, proctored by parents. That's a big concern that lots of people have, is I don't want to send my child somewhere else, have someone else watch them take a test. Lots
Mhm.
of kids have never taken tests before. So we're taking that away. And it's a wonderful test that you can administer during the whole year and get actionable domain level skills that your kids need to learn, and also get reading scores, which, as a former English teacher, I am a huge proponent of knowing reading levels so we can find the right books that will fit what our students need.
Right. Interesting. What makes you so excited about this test?
It's online, which means that
Okay.
it's computer based. So it means that it's going to adapt as students take the test. The questions adapt as kids get questions right and wrong. So we can really hone in and find out what kids know. And
So
the thing,
what do you mean when you say it adapts?
so as it's going to start the first question, at the grade level that your students are assigned. And then as
Okay.
your students get a question right, the next question will be a little bit harder of a question. And if they get
Okay.
it wrong, the question will become a little bit easier. And the test is going to keep alternating as your students get questions right and wrong, just to find the right level and find out what your students know.
Okay, cool. That's very interesting. And what subject areas does it hit?
So, this is a great thing. So, there's a math test, there's a reading test, and there's an early literacy test for people who aren't readers yet. It's completely audio based. And so, our students who don't read can actually take an assessment and we can find out what literacy skills they have.
Wait a minute. So what age groups then is this targeted for?
Well, the early literacy test is starting with kindergarten until they can read, and then reading
Okay.
and math are available up through grade 12.
So this is one of the things that parents were concerned about. What kind of assessment can you use for a kindergartner who can't read? So
That's
tell
very
us the
interesting.
name of the test. I don't think that we've said the name
Oh,
of
we
it.
haven't even said it? Oh my goodness. Yeah, actually Shara just wrote in here and she says, "What is the name of the test?" Yeah, that's a great whoops.
Let's tell you that it's the STAR assessment. So there's STAR Early Literacy, that's for the early readers, for the non-readers, and then there's STAR Reading and STAR Math.
Awesome. Oh, Christy Jackson just commented and said, "Going to add that Adrienne has been exceptionally helpful and easy to reach. Customer service is exceptional." That's really cool. All right. So what is she talking about, customer service? What is it that you do?
So, my husband and I, the way it's so the STAR test is sold through Renaissance, which is the people who wrote the test. And
Okay.
so we have purchased licenses that we can offer them to people. So when you buy the license from us, we are going to go in and we create an account for your student. And then
Okay.
we're going to email you with all the information that you need to log in, help your student log in, help your student know what to do. And so we've had a couple of hiccups just as we're getting set up and getting started. And I've been so grateful for the people who have been patient with us. But it does require us to go in and we have to manually add you and manually email you out your requirements because it's on a student by student basis. So it does take a little bit
Okay.
of time.
So, but you do the work of setting them all up so
Yes.
that the parents can essentially onboard without
Mhm.
without having to do it themselves. So you would take
Yes.
care of that for them.
Yep.
Somebody asked, how would you compare this to the NWEA map test?
So they're similar. Both tests are used by schools, both tests are computer adaptive. The STAR assessment is really short, so it takes less time than NWEA usually. For early literacy, it takes about 20 minutes or less. For STAR reading, it takes about 25 minutes or less. And for STAR math, it takes about 30 minutes or less. And NWA usually takes a little bit longer. So there's that component. Also, you are allowed to administer this at home and proctor it
Hmm.
yourself.
And how
Okay,
does
cool.
that proctoring work? I'm curious about that.
Okay.
So your student's going to log in. We'll provide you with the login information. Your student will log in, and all we want you to do is make sure that the student is able to get in, that they can start the test, and then we just want you to be there to make sure that they're not just clicking through the answers, to make sure they're not just
Mm.
sitting there stalling out. We don't want you to read it to them. We don't want you to answer it for them. We just want you to be there as support and just make sure that the student moves through the test.
Okay. So they essentially kind of self-direct through it. You just kind of stay over their shoulder, and if anything tech goes wrong, like they close the window or something
Right.
accidentally. Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Interesting. Interesting. Someone says, "Are you a direct provider through MSS, or are parents paying out of pocket and being reimbursed?"
At the moment, it's through out of pocket. We are stalled in the MSS process. We have our application in. So as soon as that is up, we will be a direct provider.
Okay, cool. How can they follow to find out when, like, how do they follow you to find out when that might be done?
We have a website and we have a Facebook page. So as soon as we're up there, we'll definitely post it on our website and start posting it in Facebook.
Okay, cool. And I posted your website link in our description today when it goes live, so everybody has that. And they have access to that, so that's good. Someone Jessica says, "Oh, they're bouncing around." Okay, Jessica says, "I have a kindergartner for the STAR test. How far in advance should we order it, and do we have to practice before taking the test?" That's a great question. I
That
think
is a
you
great
got a
question.
lot to say. Go for it.
Yes. So the great thing about what we're offering is the license is for the entire school year. So if you want to buy your license now, you can give your assessment now, which essentially becomes like a practice, right? But your student can get in, there's no pressure, they can learn how the test works. Um, at the end of the year, you can you'll be ready to take the assessment. So the nice thing is this is unlimited access. You can give the test as much as you would like. And then
Hmm.
at the end of the year, when we have that final test that we want to turn in that score, you have control over which one we can turn in. Or
Yeah, I
you
was talking to your husband Mike, and he was saying that as you take it, you can take it as often as you want, so that you can see progress of improvement and which areas show improvement, which themes seems like wow, I can't talk. Maybe I should take the test. Which things seem like a struggle, and which things seem to come easy. and that way you can know your areas of focus. And so you can use it as a tool to kind of help pinpoint growth, not just satisfy the PEP requirement. And then what happens with the test scores?
So there is a way to sign up. Once your student logs in, you can sign up. There's a link on the site where you can sign up and you will get a report within 20 minutes of your student finishing, where you'll get a list of the skills they can work on. You're going to get the number that PEP wants, which is called a percentile rank. It's the comparison number against all the other students in the country. You can get that within 20 minutes of your students finishing the assessment. At the end of the year, we will be emailing out a more concise report. It will just have that percentile rank number that the state wants. The state is not getting anything. We're at the end of the year, we will provide you with just that percentile rank number, and that's what you will submit to the state. The state doesn't care about anything else other than that one number. But the report that you can get, you could collect across the year if your student was taking the assessment and see growth and making sure that they're learning.
That's really, really interesting. Let's see. There are some other questions that came in. Let me check them here. Are the questions chosen by grade level?
That's a great question. So because the test is computer adaptive, it's not tied to grade level. And so it will start at the grade level where your student is. But after that, depending on which questions they're getting right and wrong, they might end up seeing some questions that they don't know just because we're pushing the boundaries of what they might
Right.
know. But if they get it wrong, the question's going to become easier again and go back to something that they know.
Very interesting.
Homeschoolers don't necessarily go by grade levels, so how would they
Right.
choose the grade level for their
That's a good
child?
question.
We can go by birth date, or we could go by the grade level um, where you assume that they are. We could go by the technical grade level where they should be, and then this report will actually let you know at what grade level they're actually working on. My son just took this assessment. He's in second grade, but it turns out, so I was giving him second grade math curriculum, but he took it and all of his scores for math came back at third grade. And so I went and I found a third grade textbook so that we could start homeschooling him at a better level for him.
Cool. Wow.
And
Shara
how did
asks,
he,
go
let
ahead.
me ask, how did
Yeah,
he
go ahead.
react to that? Was he impressed with the fact that he was ahead now?
Oh, yes. Mom, I shouldn't be doing second grade math anymore. Will I have to buy the new book, kid?
So this could actually work in a child's favor if they know where they're working or even where they're behind and they need to put more time and energy into moving up in that
Yeah.
particular area. I could see it
So
be a nice tool for the child.
Yeah, I was gonna say this kind of test can allow you the flexibility of, rather than just going, oh, I think my child is on this level, and just getting all kinds of content like of that level for them. You can say, oh, they're reading at this level. Let's go get them reading at that level, or they're math at this level. And you can hodgepodge, like you can mix and match based off of their need.
Yep.
Customize. Let me put it. You can customize their learning curriculum to their needs and their strengths, as well as weaknesses. That kind of flexibility just isn't something you see in public schools. Is that something that kind of drew you to home education?
Yeah, my son, who's in second grade but can work at third grade math, he was just bored. And he's
Mm,
just that type of kid that likes to press buttons. And I didn't want him to
mm,
start getting in trouble because he was bored at school and already knew how to read and already knew how to do the things. And I just really wanted to
that's
have more
funny.
control and be around I love my children and I wanted to be
Hmm.
around them.
That started to happen to me when I was in public school growing up too, and that was kind of when my mom pulled me as well, which is it's really interesting because I was like, Mom, I think the teacher just hates me. It's like she won't let me talk or anything. It's because I was I was pushing buttons. I was done with school. Yeah, that's funny. Do they have reading fluency option where you can listen to the child read to gauge reading level, or is reading level based on their answers to comprehension questions?
That's a great question. So the reading level is based on their answers. The whole entire test is multiple choice, and so there's no speaking involved. But if you're interested in that, just contact us. There's a couple of other resources that I have that we can test that.
Okay. Let me get through some of these questions. I'm trying to listen to your answers because I want to know them too, but then I'm like not reading ahead in the questions. So let me catch up here. Um, I may have missed it, but do the grades get turned in?
So the only number that gets turned in is that 1 percentile rank number, and that's a number that you will turn in. We're not turning anything into the state, just that one number that you'll turn in at the end.
So there's a lot of data and helpful information that the test will help the parents accumulate for their own
Right.
use. But what gets turned in isn't anything that has to do with all of that specific.
Okay, I have a question.
Go. I'll read ahead here.
In terms of the information that they turn in, does that information contain a grade level?
It will contain the grade level because the way that the test works is we have to have a starting point for the assessment, and that's why we do ask for the grade level. So that will be on there. So it will be on the report in regards to percentile rank.
Okay. So I'm gonna go. But there's a couple here that are really really good. Is the price per child or per family?
It is per child because every student needs to have their own login and every student has to take the test for themselves. Because it is computer adaptive, we wouldn't want the same multiple students taking the same test because it'll throw off the results because the computer is going to be tracking individual student progress and in this individual student answers.
If you're using this for PEP, though, you're going to have a scholarship for each child.
Exactly.
But you
Right.
couldn't use it for those that aren't on the PEP unless you paid out of pocket.
Correct.
If parents are proctoring, so this is a good question. I think you already answered it, but this person may have joined late, so let's ask it again. If parents are proctoring the test without supervision, don't we run the risk of parents answering correctly for the kids?
That's always a risk. You run that risk whether your kids are taking the Iowa test or NWEA or anything. We always run that risk. And so Renaissance, the builder of it, has said that parents can proctor this, and we do send out guidelines on how to proctor it. So that is always a risk when you're taking something at home. There's not a lot we can do about it other than provide you with the resources to know how to do it correctly.
And trust you.
Yes, we have to trust you.
Yeah. Someone asked, I would like to use this to show my sixth grader how he is progressing. How much is the service, and do you have science covered?
Okay, so it is $75 for the license for the entire school year. And right now it's just the only tests that are offered are English and math, or English and reading. Math and reading. There we go.
Math and reading. Okay.
Math and reading.
Okay. So science not, but math and reading are. I think a huge part of science is reading,
Yes.
and math. To be honest with you, it's like the practical application of your ability to read and math. I
Sure.
would think.
Yeah.
Anyway,
And just to clarify, because I don't think we've said this yet, the STAR assessments are on the DOE approved list of tests that can be used for PEP. They're already on that approved list.
Yeah, someone says fraud is always a risk, but most parents aren't going to do that. These kinds of things can certainly happen in schools as well, but they don't normally. There is really no benefit for you or your child to cheat. That's true because you're basically able to use the test to gauge actuals, and then use that information to help you kind of better direct your child's learning, right? With parent-directed education. There's really no benefit to cheating other than maybe getting a false score so you can inflate your ego, I guess. Like, hey,
Well, a parent could always buy one of those assessments for
True.
themselves.
that's true. If a parent really wants to know, if you're smarter than a fifth grader, you could also take it. Yeah,
It
dude,
could
you
be
know
very
that would
inflating.
actually be, yeah, that would actually be interesting. Maybe we should hold a contest through our Facebook page for parents to do it and post their scores next to their children's to see how they match up. That would be hysterical. Oh my word, that would be hysterical. There's purchase every year. Yes, okay. Where do we go to purchase a license? Does it recover? Yes, so we talked about that. People are also helping post the link in the
Oh, good.
comments here. So this is really cool, really helpful. You guys all have the answer to that. I think that's easy. How does STAR compare to other tests like the Iowa or MAPS? I know that you talked about MAPS earlier. or whatever the school uses, like CAT, if percentile gets turned in, is that a universal across the tests?
Okay, that's a lot of questions.
There's a lot. There's a lot. You can feel free to break it apart. Yeah, we'll start with the beginning. How does it compare to Iowa?
Okay, so the Iowa test is paper based, and this test is on the computer. So that's the biggest difference. Also, with Iowa, you have to order in advance. You have to send it back in to get your scores. With this, it's instantaneous. You sign up, we'll give you your logins within 24 hours once we get you set up, and you can get your scores within 20 minutes. So,
And do they have the ability on with the Iowa to take it as many times as they want and turn in
right,
and use it as a gauging tool?
probably not.
Okay, that's a big
So
difference.
that is a big difference. So there's that. Um, And then, as far as what the school used, so actually, the state of Florida actually uses the STAR assessment, this exact assessment for every pre-K, K1 and 2 student in the state of Florida who's in public school has to take this assessment. So it's the same assessment. They purchased it because it's easy, provides really, really actionable data, and it's not super stressful for students. So as far as what the kids in public school are taking, the younger kids and a lot of older kids are also taking this assessment. So if that's something that is important to you, that's one of the selling points. If you don't like that at all, then just ignore I just said that.
Okay. Holly asks, does the percentile score on the test include both homeschoolers, private, and public school students, or just our state or nationwide? She's curious because she used to give this test as a teacher in Georgia.
Okay, yep. So the STAR assessment, the percentile rank is a national number. So it'll take the pool
Okay.
of everybody in the country who's taken it.
Regardless of
Interesting.
where they're being educated.
Regardless, yeah, if they took
Okay,
it.
so it's I got you. Okay, regardless of where they're being tested or where they're getting their education sourced from, if they're taking the test, they're
Right.
on the national average for that. Okay, got it. Good, good, good. I think. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up here.
If I missed something, Adrienne, they would come to Northridge Academy to get their license to do this. You purchase the license and they are buying that opportunity from you. They don't purchase a license. Is that
Correct.
correct?
Right. Because of the way that Renaissance is set up, they only sell to schools and districts. And so we created a school with the state of Florida. Then Renaissance recognized us. And then we were able to get, because there's a bunch of back end stuff on the Renaissance side. So we've gone through all of that process and set it up. So all you have to do is purchase it through us and we get you set up and there's nothing you have to do. You're not enrolling in a school. You're not doing anything other than getting this
Great.
license.
Thank you for clarifying that. Somebody actually asks along that line that how do you purchase as a homeschooling family? It looks like you have to pick a school district. I don't know what the platform looks like or what she's referencing, but can you help clarify that?
They don't register, not through the school
Yeah.
district.
Yeah. So this person may have clicked. I don't know where they ended up, I guess is what I'm saying. I don't know where they are, what screen they're looking at. But it sounds to me like if they go through you, you set all of that up for them. They don't even need to worry about it. They will just have access once you've done it. And they're not enrolling in a school or a district, etc. You take care of all of that stuff on the back end for them.
It would be the same thing if they went to a local private school that allowed them to come take the Iowa test at the school. They don't enroll, they just take the assessment,
Right.
provide the information, and then the school would send them the results of those tests. So Northridge Academy is your private school that you're taking your children to online just to take the assessment. It's just the way it has to process for parents who home educate or in PEP to access the test. So thank you, Adrienne, for working out those complicated details.
Working out all those details. I found a good question here. I think I lost. Okay, here it is. Does the license cover a calendar year or a school year, as in the same quote unquote year as the scholarship, July to June? Like, I guess if I purchase one here, does it expire before I have a chance to take it and turn it in? Or
No, it's based on the school year calendar. So you'll have access to the license until June 30th of 2024.
Got it. Cool.
If you purchase it when?
Now, anytime you purchase it, you'll have access until June 30th,
2024.
2024.
Is there a benefit to purchasing the license if my child is getting ready to dual enroll?
It really comes down to what you need. The reason that we're offering this is because we believe in helping homeschool parents, and because we need that PEP requirement of having the
Yeah.
norm-based test at the end of the year. So if you're able to get that norm-based test somewhere else, I mean that's your choice. We do
Yeah.
offer this for the PEP requirement.
Are the testing requirements for PEP only math and reading?
Yes.
Okay. Or do we need to find something else for science for PEP?
As far as we can tell, I've read all the things. I've talked with Brenda about this, and as far as we can tell, it's just math and reading.
Cool. Cool. In the future, will you provide a test that would cover other subjects?
Perhaps for now, we're just starting. This is all brand new to all of us.
Sure.
So this is where we're starting. We'll see what happens in the future.
Great. Yeah. No, that's great. That's great.
The STAR
I think-
assessment is on the list that the DOE has approved. And we've posted a link to that, haven't we, Crystal? In
Yeah,
our forum.
there are links in the forums for that list in some of the posts about testing. Yeah.
So DOE has looked at this test and they have approved the test for math and reading. So apparently that is all they're interested in at this point.
Cora asks, to purchase, we use the website and add the package to our cart and check out, or do we contact you personally?
Work through the website and just add
Go
it to
through the
your cart
website.
and purchase it. Yep.
Perfect. Now, I was talking with Mike. I don't know if I should say this or not. Just tell me to shut up if I shouldn't. Just be like, no, don't say that. But we were talking about perhaps putting together a code that might give families a little bit of an added value.
No, that's back screen stuff.
Fine. But I think they might want to know especially if there's like a family package coming per license kind of thing. Well, I'll just say this then. Stay tuned for options. All right, we'll discuss what some of those look like and try to help benefit our community. Watch the forum posts. There is a place in the forum for you guys to post the URL for your test and the licensing. There is a section of our forum that is for parents who have created resources. In fact, I believe it is called, what is it called? Resources made by parents. There's also a part of our forum. Yeah, it's a surprise.
Wow.
Like, what great naming we got going on. There's also a part of the forum that is for testing. And a lot of parents have questions about PEP and the requirements, etc., that were in regards to testing. And so we thought it would be nice to segment those there. That way, as people are sorting through PEP questions that are not about testing, they're about other stuff, they don't have to filter through everything. So I would highly recommend that we get the links to your testing licensing posted in those two sections so parents will have access to them. So we can talk about how best to do that afterwards. I'll walk you through it if you need to. That way they can see that it's coming from you, and if they have any questions, you can kind of use the forum even to like Q&A with and interact with the parents afterwards if there's any questions that they didn't get answered from the stream. Let me go back. Thank you, Adrienne, for giving parents access to this testing option. That's awesome. Yeah. All right, cool. I think we're all caught up on the questions from the comments section. Is there anything that we didn't really cover? So, okay, we didn't cover this. I meant to start with this, actually. You and your husband decided to become sponsors for HEF as well. I saw we added you to the vendor sponsor page on the recognition wall. What made you decide to support HEF?
Well, as we're diving into homeschooling, the resources on the website have been invaluable to us, and the work that Brenda and the Crawfords do is so important, and we just felt like we needed to really support this community that we want to be part of and really help make sure that the homeschooling programs that come from the state are beneficial and actually helpful for all of us that want to do it. So we were more than happy to become a sponsor.
Well, thank you. We appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing more about this. Maybe it would be good to have a follow up somewhere around like January, February, just to see like what parents are experiencing with this, because I would love to kind of check back in and know. Um, anything else, Brenda? We've gone almost full duration today. Um, Adrienne, is there anything else you want to add?
No, other than just give it a chance. I know it's computer-based testing is new for a lot of people, and so it's easy just to stick with paper and pencil, but just come explore, see what it is like. We have some sample options on the website. Just come and just see if it's going to be a good fit for you, because the people who have taken the test already have found it helpful.
Awesome.
Let me
Very, very
just say that there are other options for evaluations out there for home education families, and we're not trying to cut them out of the evaluation. Some of those
That's a great point.
teachers offer a testing assessment that you could get. So those are valuable resources in the homeschool community. But if you're new and coming into parent directed education through the PEP program, you may be a little at a loss to find some of those evaluators out there. And this we thought would be a good resource for you. So that's why we're introducing it. We're not saying it's the only option or the best option, because we believe that parents know what's best for their children. We don't make your decisions for you. We offer information, and we hope that what we offer for you is valuable for you in making the decision for your child.
Awesome. Someone says, love this, would love an update to hear how it goes. Someone said, I'm an evaluator and a proud sponsor of FLHU. That's Lupita. Yes, Lupita, thank you. Would evaluators find this a helpful tool for them as well?
Yeah, if they have students they want to test and just see progress, we have to show progress for the evaluations as well. So it's another way that we could also show progress for evaluators.
Interesting. That's really cool. So yeah, that's really neat. Well, I'm glad we had this chat. I would say fireside chat, but there's no fire and it's too hot in Florida for anything like that, even during these months. But it is a beautiful Monday, though. The weather is a bit nicer. Um, so maybe get out, do some of those outdoor activities where we learn. Hurricane season's over, so we won't be going outside holding a flags and measuring wind power and calling it science. But we may
We're
do some other.
listening for tornadoes.
We may do some other things. Brenda, before we call our stream to a close today, is there anything else that you want to add or talk about?
No, we're tracking the special session. We're going to keep you updated on the outcome for that. I know that there were parents that I know of that were very disappointed they didn't get a scholarship for their students with disabilities. And I am thrilled that the legislature is reconsidering uh, funding those students that are on the waiting list, because it's so valuable for them to get help as early as possible with their disabilities, because the outcomes are better than waiting until later. So I'm thrilled about that. And I hope that when that session ends, there will be everybody that's on the waiting list will be funded. I don't have much input into the funding of these scholarships. I have a lot of input into the policies. So we're just going to hope the legislature does the right thing and help the kids that need the most help.
We did have one question that came in that it's for Brenda. It's from Alex, and I don't know how to say the other name, so we'll just go with Alex. I joined a bit late, but I have a question for you when you get to this subject. My kids were awarded PEP and then got kicked back to FTC, FESCO, and are still stuck there. Have been for months, I think. I unenrolled from my umbrella school when we were awarded PEP, but now I'm in limbo, no communication from Step Up, and I don't know how to move forward with the scholarship or if my kids are legally truant since they are technically not PEP students or in an umbrella school.
They can't be in an umbrella school and get PEP.
So she unenrolled them, or they unenrolled them from the umbrella school.
Right. Um, if they were enrolled at the time that they did the comparison list of where you were enrolled and you didn't unenroll them soon enough, then that may be why you got kicked back. But Crystal may have some more thoughts on that because she's dealing with that on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah,
Could just be some good.
I don't really have any more specific information. The last I heard from Step Up was that there were some people that got kicked back just as a glitch, and they were trying to work through those, but then we haven't heard any updates. They've kind of gone incommunicative with us. Yeah.
This person says that they did unenroll before the comparison.
Okay.
But the
So then I think their concern is whether they're truant at this point.
Right.
At this point, unless somebody reported you for not having your children in school, it's not going to look any different to the neighbors whether you are enrolled in an umbrella school or a home education program or a PEP program. If you were to get reported for truants, I would print out the emails that you have from Step Up and just show them that there's a lot of confusion right now and that you are supposed to be getting a PEP scholarship. And if you don't, you will re-enroll your child in the appropriate whatever you want to do, home education or the private school, as soon as you have a definite answer, but it's still in limbo. If you have anybody that shows up at your door with those kinds of questions, please call me or contact us, and we will get in touch with the school district and make sure nothing happens to you. We have resources. We have people at the school districts that we work with and also at the Department of Education. So I wouldn't worry if I were you.
They seem perfect. Thank you. One final question for Adrienne before we go. Once you've purchased the license through Northridge Academy, when do you get the link? Give me an idea of the timeline of what to expect as a consumer.
Just give us about a day. we are also homeschooling and have jobs, so just give us a day, and we will send you a follow-up email with your login information and everything that you need.
Perfect. Awesome. What a great stream. Lots of good information, lots of helpful stuff. I'm going to take us to the screen with our top sponsors again, just so that everyone can see and show appreciation to them. Definitely calling out FPEA as one of them. Thank you, Adrienne, for being on our stream today. We really, really appreciate having you with us. We do this every Monday at noon. We go for about an hour. We try to talk about topics that are useful and helpful to our home education community, but very specifically about the lobbying that we do. And then sometimes we just have something that's an added bonus, and we appreciate you for being our added bonus today. So thank you very, very much for that. For everyone else who's been with us, the 30 plus people who've been with us this entire time, thank you. We love you. We hope you guys have a wonderful week. And without further ado,
and spread this information to your friends.
Yes. And also check our forums later, because we'll get with Adrienne and make sure she posts her information there where you can all ask questions if you need.
Yes, we will get that on the forums. Also, Brenda is correct. If you think this is useful to someone else, please. There are 150,000 students who home educate in Florida, and we have 30 people on the stream. So we've got some growing to do. If you found this helpful, share it. Share it in Facebook groups. Share it in all of the groups where people are freaking out about tests and what they're going to do. Like, definitely share this one with them. We would love to be whatever kind of helpful resource we can and grow our community and collect our voices sane, loud, and clear, helpful. All right. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and with that, we'll call our stream to a close.